Now for a quick Devar Torah. This week's parsha, of course, we again get into the numbers, but it's interesting. In the center of the camp is the Mishkan, the Tabernacle, and the question. So, like we're counting everybody individually because every individual counts, but remember the whole concept here is yes, every individual counts. Nobody is extra. But also we're on a mission. Literally, we're on a mission from God. The big issue is remember that we were slaves in Egypt. Eventually, we're going to be going to the land of Israel. But that means we have to become a nation. You cannot take people who were slaves and expect them to be a nation. You have to have education. You have to give them a mission as well. We see that the problem of not training people to be a nation causes a lot of problems. In the early 19th century, there was a movement to return the slaves to Africa who had been born and raised in America. So Liberia was one of these places. Sierra Leone was another place where freed people would be sent back to Africa. And what did they do when they got back to Africa? They set up societies like the South. They had set up plantations. They took slaves. In other words, they copied what they knew from the period of servitude. The purpose of the whole issue that was going on here is that God did not want us to repeat what happened in Egypt, even though that's what we knew up until then. That's why the camp is set up in the way that it is. First of all, in Egyptian society, human life was expendable. If you were low on society, nobody cared. A slave died, a slave died. We'll get another one. In the Jewish concept, even a slave, and by the way, the term for slave in Hebrew, Eved, also means servant. Okay, it's not a slave in the sense that this person has no rights. Slaves actually have rights in Jewish law. Even non-Jewish slaves have rights in Jewish law. So, like, we want to take these people from a slave mentality, bring them to become a nation. To do that, you have to, among other things, show them that every individual counts. Everybody's important. But within that context, that everybody being important, you have the issue that we have to be a nation. We have to have a common purpose. We have to have some unifying factor because we are all individuals. And the way that we would accomplish that is through putting the Mishkan or Tabernacle in the center, saying the center of this nation is God and the Torah. And we have to live according to that. That's why we did that. Much like if you translate the United States into Hebrew, Hebrew is unique among languages, where the translation of the United States into Hebrew is not the United States, Medinot Mu'achadot. That's not how you say United States in Hebrew. You say it Artzot Habrit, lands of the agreement or the covenant, meaning the Constitution. And a number of years ago, I looked up when did this name for the United States first start in Hebrew. And I was surprised to find out that it went back to the 1790s, that it was recognized there was something unique. So it was a conceptual translation of the United States, not a literal one. But that's what's going on here. God wants the Jewish people to become a constitutional people, the Constitution being the Torah. The Torah is our Constitution. And by making the Torah the Constitution and uniting the people around it, God makes it so that we will be a real nation. Something to think about